From the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, since the expansion expired, an estimated 20 million children nationwide have been unable to claim the full payment. And then we have another thing to talk about, folks. It's a Democratic lawmakers introducing the new bill to increase the state child tax credit for working families. This is done in efforts to address rising levels of poverty in the city and states of New York. And this is pretty good because it now means that stimulus payments could be sending out more and be sent out now in 2022 and 2024 and even in 2025. A bill to create the New York State Working Families Credit would actually increase the state child tax credit program to the $1,500 per child from $500 and expand eligibility to children under age 4 and families making some pretty no money. Families actually would be paid quarterly, and since single taxpayers are making just a gross income of $25,000 or less, or couples making $50,000 or less who file joint return, they would be eligible for the benefit. The State Department of Taxation and Finance would assess a family's eligibility for the credit through income filings from their annual tax return. The U.S. also started 2023 yet again as one of the few wealthy nations without any national paid family leave or paid sick leave program. Folks, this is bad because with Congress divided, advocates are turning to states to bolster benefits for workers and families, and the Democrats attempt to pass 4 weeks of paid federal family leave to fall apart in the U.S. Senate, leaving a patchwork of rules for workers and businesses to navigate across. The state-by-state nature of this is pretty dangerous. Of the rules means that millions of Americans, millions of families are in need of help, and it means that something should be done sooner than later, because now, as of this year, 13 states, including DC, have passed some paid family leave program. 14 states and DC have enacted the paid sick leave program, but an estimated 28 million workers still have no guaranteed paid sick time.
The great Francis Perkins, FDR's labor secretary, once said, "A government should aim to give all the people under its jurisdiction the best possible life." That's it. That's the job. That's what we're here to do. And I cannot stand here and say we're done yet. Because even though we've set the
We got a time to use but the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, and of course the fourth stimulus payment that President Biden should be sending out in 2023. A lot of people are saying it's not going to be sent out, but I have sources telling me that they will be sending out stimulus checks in 2023 because anything is possible. We know this for sure because President Biden's done in the past, Democrats have done in the past, and Republicans have also sent out stimulus billions of dollars towards new relief. Some Americans will receive these checks automatically, while others are going to take half to a little bit more action. So there is a little less than a month before Colorado residents even who file their taxes receive this extra money. The Colorado Cashback Program, for instance, will give taxpayers who filed their 2021 taxes by October 17th, $750 by the end of this month of January. Eligible couples will get $1,500, and even the governor who signed the law in May is set to return the money to taxpayers as he originally intended for the payment to be $400 for individual filers and $800 for couples. According to the Colorado Department of Revenue, the amount was increased due to excess state revenue. The payment arriving by the end of the month will be for state residents who filed an extension, and the first round of payments was for people who had filed their taxes by June 30th and paid to residents September 30th payments. So, example of this is what I'm talking about, and when Colorado residents, they must be 18 or older by the end of this year to claim this free stimulus credit. Free stimulus credit, folks, because if a taxpayer who's eligible to receive this check owes any money to the government, like a child support or unpaid parking tickets, well, the rebate amount will decrease. Also, everybody, President Biden and top lawmakers fanned out across the country this week to visit bridges that are said to be prepared with new infrastructure money. The President stopped at, for instance, the Brent Spence Bridge, which crosses the Ohio River, connecting Connecticut and Kentucky. The event touting an infusion of repair money going to bridges, not people. Why is it going to bridges? I have no idea, everybody. We all have to blame it on President Biden because the focus of the White House and the GOP leadership on areas of bipartisan cooperation is a marked contrast to the House Representatives, as they're still struggling to enact somebody to take charge. So what I want to say is that the infrastructure law put aside $100 billion for roads and bridges, and now rural broadband, ports, and other items are having some difficulties around us. For instance, this week's visit coincided with the announcement that approximately $2 billion of the money will be set aside for repairs in a large bridge program, which includes the Brent Spence Bridge and 3 other bills that the administration describes as some of America's most economically significant spans. Now, Kamala Harris also has visited Ford Drawbridge in the south side of Chicago near Illinois. She's talking about something about to repair these bridges, and Biden and other officials have also talked about lauding the importance of economic repairs for bridges in the business community. In total, the infrastructure law puts aside $40 billion for somebody to take care of this thing. Joe Biden has made several previous bridge visits during his time in office, including spans in Pennsylvania and New Hampshire, providing a visual reminder of the infrastructure money at work and with the economic consequences if despair had continued. So far, an infrastructure report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers put a spotlight on the overall problem. Of the more than 600,000 bridges in the United States, about 47,000 of them are classified as structurally deficient. The question remains just how much of the current efforts will resolve the overall problem. Civil Engineers estimates that $125 billion is needed for America's bridge repairing backlog, underscoring that additional investment will likely take place in the coming years, the coming days. What I do know is that Joe Biden's got to do something. You don't even need to apply for rebate cash. The state will automatically issue your rebate. Many people in Georgia have already received extra money as the state began issuing its first round of surplus tax refunds this month. For a second consecutive year, lawmakers approved Brian Kemp's request to issue income tax refunds to eligible taxpayers. These refunds will cost a projected $1 billion, $46.6 billion in surplus revenue held over from its last budget year. Both the income tax rebate and a separate $1 billion property tax rebate are fulfilling the campaign promise made by the governor of Georgia for his re-election run this year and this fall. These eligible people should receive rebates of up to $250 for single filers or married taxpayers who filed separately. Residents qualify for a refund if they filed taxes in both the 2021 and 2022 tax years, though no one can get back more than what they paid for in state income tax because, well, it's not going to happen. The White House has even announced a new income-driven repayment plan. It's called a SAVE plan, and the concept of a SAVE plan was announced in January. It's touted as the most affordable repayment plan in the history of America. It's revised as you revise, pay as you earn. The SAVE plan just is going to aim to lower monthly payments for borrowers, eliminate them entirely for individuals who meet the certain income threshold, even if you will halt the accumulation of unpaid interest as long as repayments are made. It will just reduce the duration of monthly payments, potentially allowing 85% of college borrowers to have their outstanding debt canceled within as little as 10 years. The new plan from the White House will be amended and aimed toward the revised pay-as-you-earn program. It is going to propose regulations that would increase the amount of income protected from the repayment of 150% of the federal poverty guideline. The level is roughly the equivalent of a $15 hourly wage, but it's going based upon some other thresholds as well. Because, for instance, Social Security payments receive an annual adjustment based on the CPI, but the future sustainability of the program has been a topic of discussion. But besides that, this plan is going to lower payments for borrowers and eliminate them. So, for instance, a single borrower earning less than $32,000 would have the payments reduced to $0. The same would be true for a person with a household of 4 earning $67,000 or less. But the plan just guarantees that no borrower earning under $220,000